Alright, so I just finished ReZero Volume 24. Freaking amazing volume. You guys already know the drill. We're going to jump into my thoughts and opinions. We're going to summarize some of the events that happened in this volume. And we're going to dive deep into ReZero Volume 24. So without any further ado, let's jump right in. Chapter 1. Waiting for the ice to thaw. So this chapter starts off where the last volume ended off, where Subaru made his big confession to Emilia that he's going to be the Natsuki Subaru he needs to be in order to protect the people he loves. Amazing volume. Great stuff. And yeah, so he wakes up and he tells everyone he lost his memory for the trillionth time. We've been through this so many times. I don't really want to get into all that. And then he devises a plan to catch the person who's kept pushing him off the freaking stairs and killing him the last 2-3 loops. So the chapter ends with us finding out who this person was, thanks to a clever plan devised by Natsuki Subaru. And we find out that it was Meili. Meili did it. Fuck. Anyways, that's where the chapter ends. Subaru finds out Meili was the one who tried to push him. Chapter 2. In the future. Subaru talks to Meili and he's like, Meili, I understand that you were raised as a killer and that's all you know, but you don't have to do those things. You don't have to follow those habits that you've been nurtured and programmed to follow. You can become something new. Subaru was able to convince Meili that she should stop just killing people out of habit. Nobody can blame Meili, so I do think it's justified that Meili's getting a second chance, a chance to grow, because at the end of the day, she's just a kid. Subaru has a good ass idea. He says they should look for Reid's Book of the Dead because they haven't looked for Reid's Book of the Dead ever. And I'm like, that's actually a good ass idea. And then now I'm realizing this in hindsight. Subaru went there originally, and that's probably why he lost his memory, but we're gonna get into that. Anyways, so they decide they're gonna look for Reid's Book of the Dead in the library. So they all rush to the library. Meili finds the book almost right away. I think this was plot convenience, but you know what? I'm not mad because I wasn't trying to read pages of them just looking for this book. So Meili finds the Book of the Dead, and Subaru ends up jumping into the book. And this is exciting. Like, ooh, what are we gonna see? Are we gonna see the battle with the witch? Are we gonna see freaking Reid destroying people? Nope. We get to a freaking room and we get none of those things. We see a lolly, a blonde lolly. But the crazy part about this is that that lolly introduces herself as Sin Archbishop of Gluttony. And that's where chapter 2 ends. Chapter 3. Stand up. Alright, so this is the chapter. This is probably the best chapter of all the volumes I've read in Arc 6. Amazing chapter, but let's jump in. So Subaru is entering this place called the Hall of Memories, or in the translation I read, it was actually the Corridor of Memories, and apparently just this little kid, this lolly, Louise Arneb, is the only one who can exist there. I don't even know why she's there. Maybe I missed something. I swear it was not even explained why she's in there. This kid's there, and Subaru doesn't really understand what Archbishop of Gluttony means, because we gotta remember, he doesn't remember what any of that stuff is. But this girl basically explains it to him, and he asks her, did you take my memories? And the Archbishop's just like, yep, I did. Damn! Just revealing it like that? So then she's like, yeah, I took your memories. Subaru, you might have a sister now in the real world. I mean, you've been here for a long time. Have you ever thought of that? And then they start playing some mind games on him. And he's like, I don't even want to think about that. Gluttony basically sees Subaru as some type of infinite feast, because Subaru's ability to return by death allows him to repeatedly die and gain new experiences and new memories. So they want to be able to keep eating Subaru's memories, which is freaking crazy. Like, what a weird concept. But yeah, Gluttony eventually starts coercing Subaru and basically telling him, why are you even doing all this? You don't even want to really save the other version of you. You don't know him. Why would you do all of this for a version of you you don't know? And Subaru doesn't want to go, because you got to remember, from his perspective, man, he's found amazing people for the first time in his life. People who have accepted him, who've loved him unconditionally. Well, his parents have always loved him. We know this. But he's found that for the first time since his parents. But he's like, yeah, you know what? Forget it. I'm not that Subaru. He and I are different. And when he's about to say that he's not Natsuki Subaru, and the Gluttony girl's like, just say it. Yes. Let it all out. But then a freaking blurry image pops up, and we already know who this is, man. We know who this is. Subaru's like, who the hell is that? And then the voice says, stand up. I'm like, what? Stand up? Who's this? But then the description says what we all know. the maid with the blue hair and the blue eyes. And Subaru's like, what? Who's telling me to stand up? And I'm like, Rem, oh my god, it's Rem. It's all reasonable. Every single complaint Subaru has is perfectly reasonable. But that isn't going to get him where he wants to get. That isn't going to bring him to the result he wants to reach. And that's why Rem says, stand up again. Stand up, my hero. And then Subaru's like, my hero? Wow. Then she's like, save everything. Save everyone. Why are you trying to choose? Natsuki Subaru does not choose. He greedily goes for the best outcome no matter how many times it takes him. What are you talking about? That Subaru, this Subaru? They can both exist. You've always found a way to get everything. That greed has always been an innate part of who you are. Fight for it, because that's who you are. Stand up, my hero. And that's when Subaru's like, she kinda right. And as he has this feeling, the greed factor within him starts sprouting, and it's described as him reaffirming his greed allowed the factor to mature or something like this. And then there's a text inside the freaking light novel that says, come, Corleones. This is Subaru has amnesia, so how is he saying come, Corleones? That don't even make no sense to me. But yeah, he calls the witch factor to come to him, unless that was some type of translation error. It was like it matured, it found its new host, which I thought it already did, but I guess it finally evolved, so now he can utilize that. I wonder when he's going to use that, but he can use that now. But yeah, thanks to Rem, Subaru's able to get back on his feet. Luis is like, no, I was so close. I was going to get him to give up on the other Subaru so I could eat his memories again. Because apparently they need the person to not acknowledge themselves as the person they are in order to eat them again. Because they can't eat the same person twice. So some weird type of BS they were trying to pull. But Subaru tells her to F herself. And then he's like, hey, how do I get the hell out of here? And then a portal just opens up. So then he gets out of there. And then Louise Arneb's like, I'll have to leave it to my brothers, Roy and Alfred. They'll get you, you piece of trash. Chapter ends with Subaru returning back to his world with an even stronger resolve thanks to Rem. Chapter 4. 5 obstacles. Alright, so this chapter starts off with Julius warning Subaru right when he wakes up out of the book that the tower is being surrounded by freaking beasts coming to the tower from the dunes. So all those dune creatures are now headed over to the tower, and so then Subaru devises a plan. He realizes that they have 5 obstacles. Those obstacles being the Archbishop brothers who are coming, obviously, the monsters who are coming, Reid, because Reid's just always an issue, like the shadow figure, also known as Satala. Satala keeps coming out and just killing everyone. And then number 5, the Scorpion. The Scorpion we've seen in the last few volumes that kind of just came out of nowhere and literally just killed them. So Subaru's like, okay, these are the 5 obstacles we got to deal with. Let's do it. Long story short, Amelia and Julius try to fight Lai and Roy, but they take too long to beat them. So then Satala comes and she swallows everything up. But the Scorpion was coming too, and Subaru basically just was not able to beat these 5 obstacles, and he just dies. And yeah, that's pretty much where chapter 4 ends. He just fails, honestly. Chapter 5, an unreasonable sword's judgment. Alright, so this chapter, after dying, Subaru realizes that, okay, we don't have the same time we had before. We have to find a way to beat these Gluttony brothers quicker before Satala comes and swallows the world, because that's basically the death timer. Satala just comes and ends everything, no matter what. Alright, so now this is Subaru's second attempt on this. He sent Shala and Meili to deal with the monsters outside the dune, and then him, Amelia, and Julius end up fighting Lai, Archbishop of Gluttony. So they're fighting Gluttony, they're doing well. Amelia and Julius are going crazy. Amelia's gotten really strong, like she's going toe-to-toe with Julius now, like it's crazy. But either way, they're fighting, and they get interrupted by Reid. So Reid appears, but we find out that Reid is not just Reid, but he's also Roy. Long story short, Roy tried to basically consume Reid and get all his information and of course his abilities alongside that. But sadly it didn't work out for him because Reid had such a strong spirit that the guy got consumed by the person he was trying to consume. I mean, it's the Sword Saint, so I can't even be surprised. But either way, Reid basically comes, he bodies Lie for them, so that's one obstacle out the way. But now they have the most difficult obstacle, which is Reid. Arguable, because I'd say Satala is kind of the most difficult, but anyways, Reid So then Super's like, Julius, I haven't seen you lose yet, so I'm trusting you with Reid. Please, bro, just pull off a miracle and beat Reid. And I'm like, that's an impossible request, but we'll see what happens. So then Julius is like, okay, I'll do it. Which speaks volumes of Julius, because he knows how strong Reid is. He knows there's like damn near no chance, but he's still going in. Shout out to Julius. And then as all this is going down, the Scorpion appears again, and then Subaru seems to have some new ability from the authority that allows him to sense that the Scorpion was Shala. Freaking Shala, bro. I had a feeling, man. I had a feeling. The Scorpion's color scheme was too similar to Shala, man. I had a feeling. But anyways, Shala ends up being the Scorpion, which Subaru finds with his newfound authority that Beatrice is able to recognize as an authority, which is interesting. Because they're like, Subaru, how do you have this ability now? Because Subaru's sensing everyone. He knows where everyone is. And then Beatrice is like, it's an authority. I'm like, how does she know that? I guess it's because they're contract maybe, but interesting. But as all the chaos goes down, they still aren't able to solve the problems quick enough. Satala swallows up the world, and then there's a scene where basically Reid is fighting against Satala, and it's described in the volume that the legendary fight between the Swordmaster and the Witch is happening before Subaru right now in this moment. And I'm like, damn, that's true. He's witnessing the legendary battle between the Sword Saint and the Witch right there. I'm excited when the anime gets to that, but like, then Subaru gets taken out by a Sword Saint slash by Reid, so he went out easy because he got evaporated instantly, and that's where chapter 5 ends. Chapter 6, a single-minded star. Okay, so Subaru had 2 deaths now, and he didn't really make any progress, so now he's like, okay, there's something weird going on with Shala, the Scorpion. Let me go straight to Shala this loop and see what's going on. He confronts his Shala. Shala admits that she's the Scorpion and basically explains the rules of the tower because Subaru asks her to explain it again. But then Subaru's like, explain the 5th rule. And then she's like, what are you talking about? I only said there's 4. For some reason, Subaru realized that there was a 5th rule. I think it was because of the star constellations. I just hope I'm right with that. Please tell me I'm right. There's a 5th one. So then he keeps pushing that there's a 5th rule. Explain the 5th rule. And Shala's like, no, I can't. And Shala breaks down because if she tells him there's a rule, he's going to leave the tower. And she's been waiting 400 years for him. And now she's gonna get that taken away after only spending 4 days with him. So she just can't handle that. And it really puts in perspective that this is a normal girl. Well, she can't be normal. I'm sorry. 400 years and you're acting like that still. Then again, maybe you would be a kid if you never interacted with anyone for 400 years. Maybe you would. She's been waiting for him, which the fact that I'm saying that so casually, how was she waiting for him for 400 years? I thought she was 18. We don't know, but apparently she's been waiting for him. Actually, she ends up telling him anyways because she's turning into the Scorpion at this point. And then Subaru's like, just tell me the rule, man. Just tell me. And she's like, Master, run before I kill you in the Scorpion mode. And he's like, I don't care about that. Just tell me the rule. And the 5th rule of the tower ends up being, it is not forbidden to destroy the examination. So I guess it's not forbidden to just disregard the whole thing. Literally, to just destroy the exams is how I took it. So that is crazy in itself. You could just destroy the exam. So basically, that's why she was hiding that the whole time, because it's that simple. Because once you learn the 5th rule, you realize you don't even have to play this game that she's making you play in this freaking tower. So I definitely understand it. But then, yeah, Subaru finds out the 5th rule. He's like, okay, this loop's already screwed. I wasted so much time talking to Shala, so I'm gonna just jump off. So then he jumps off. Shala chases after him. And the chapter ends. And that's the end of the volume. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this video. If you made it this far, oh my gosh, you are incredible.